Trey, it has been almost 4 months since our last interview. It was uploaded on February 22nd. So great to see you again. I look forward to hearing all the progress you're making. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. I appreciate the time, and I'm really excited to see what's been going on the last 4 months and share some of my stories here.
Good, good. Okay, so in those 4 months, let's start with what things stand out in terms of progress or pitfalls.
I essentially had some major wins that went into some major downfalls that really tested me as an entrepreneur. Really tested my stress tolerance, which, as we all know, as an entrepreneur, it is very important to have stress tolerance. And instead of giving up, crashing and burning, or jumping ship to a new boat, I stuck it through, and I knew what I needed to do, be consistent and work at it every day. And I made it on the other side of that, which is really nice. But it was definitely a pitfall to overcome. And we're still looking at exponential growth and huge plans for the future. So that's always good.
Okay. So still doing the high ticket freelancing sales, correct? For your construction company.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And yeah, how is that scaled? A bit more into depth there.
As you know, sometimes the projects fluctuate just based on size. I'm currently still sitting at around, it scaled it from about 20, 25, and sometimes 30 to in between 30 to 40. So I have seen some small amount of scaling there. We're still working on productivity, but at the same time, we're making new sales every day. We're reaching out to clients every single day. And we're definitely looking forward to that growth that we talked about, especially after this most recent pitfall.
Okay. And when you say reaching out to clients, how are you doing that? Has that changed in the past 4 months?
We're definitely amping up our marketing. We want to get our brand in front of more people. We have expanded our services as well, so we're doing a lot of social media marketing. We are doing some standard old school marketing like direct mail and different things like that. But as far as reaching out to clients, I'm still doing cold calls. I'm still doing warm lead calls, emails daily, pretty much any way that you would reach out to them. And then I am also speaking with people over social media that have come to me with different issues. Maybe it be in their business or in their home projects, and we are working together to tackle those as well.
Nice. And in terms of marketing, did the real world contribute in any way?
Oh, 100%. I I didn't really know a lot about marketing. I liked to research things. Obviously, as the business owner, you try to wear all the hats, even though you know you probably shouldn't. And I did a lot of research into marketing. It would come up short, but I would yield small results, in my opinion. But I'm actually able to get on the real world and get in with the community and talk to them about my marketing strategies and even show them some of my actual advertisements. And they give me feedback on that. I even get help from a few people with feedback on my paid per click, which, you know, that's all in your marketing budget, and you want to move stuff around, and you learn about that as you go through your journey. But it's nice to have them there because a business owner doesn't know everything.
Hmm. Right. So, okay, outside of marketing, what else within the real world, what other lessons have helped you?
Definitely connecting with individuals that know their field a lot better. One, the community keeps me honest and accountable. I am doing daily accountability for starting at a certain time, making sure I'm calling leads every day. Because if I'm going to be honest with everyone, I don't like to make the phone calls. I get yelled at a lot, stuff like that. And it's sometimes it is hard to hold my patience, but you've got to start the day with what you don't like to do the most, just like Tate says, and knock everything out and do it with 100% conviction, and you've got this.
Hmm. Right. Okay, thank you for that. Now, could you go into your pitfall story that you mentioned?
Oh, goodness. It was definitely a trip. I was essentially doing exclusive contracting work for a company that we have under contract because I like to work. If I'm doing work for a big business, what I try to do is I try to initially lock them into a contract. If you need anything done, you contact us. We come out and we knock it out for you. And this was one of those situations. Well, we were doing some demolition work, and essentially some things happened because of the tear down. Things rumble around. Something happened in another part of the building that should have never been set up the way that it was. And because of that setup, when things took a topple from the shake, some damage was done. Long story short, we were about $43,000 in the hole with the threat of a lawsuit. Um, Instead of giving up, I know that this is my boat, and instead of jumping ship to a new boat, we just took a deep breath. We evaluated the situation. We then just got our butts to work every day, just like we knew we would. We pulled a lot of late nights, just making sure that we are getting everything completed, whether it be emails, estimates, invoices. I mean, everything to a T. And within 3.5 weeks, we actually worked our way to the other side of that 43,000, which happened roughly 3 weeks ago. The end of that, us actually overcoming that, and now we are quickly on the scaling up again. So we are expecting within the next 2 weeks to have another $10,000 job done, and then after that, we immediately have two smaller jobs at about $3,000 a piece. One's at 2880, the other one's at 32. So I mean, we are on the upscale, but I would like to obviously see productivity um, make its biggest scale point within the next 3 months, so that we can knock out product or projects at a much faster pace, earning enough room to scale better and not be stuck in that situation again. Because the last thing I ever want to do is go through a situation like that ever again.
All right, right, right. Okay, so yeah, it seems like a good lesson learned there, and it's good that you came out without too much of a issue. That now you're back on the upwards trajectory. That's great to hear. And since you mentioned your team, are there any differences within your team in those past 4 months?
So I've actually seen a really great step up from a lot of guys. In fact, a few of our guys, because of their willingness to step up, they came to me expressing the interest of wanting to do more, the ability to earn more. They were essentially asking for a promotion, but I was like, hey, you guys had my back through this. I have you at the highest point of your pay scale within like non-union. I didn't want to be that guy. So I told him, you know what? I have a spot for you because you guys want to learn how to do this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get you certified so that you can make more money. So I actually took those two guys. We're going to be putting them through the schooling, completely paid for them. And they're, by the end of that, going to be certified welders. So they will be able to make a lot more money
Nice.
than being in just basic. They're laborers essentially. They kind of hold the metal for us. They lift the metal. Sometimes they pick up a saw, but not very often. So
Mhm.
I wanted to get those guys there. Now my project manager, he has stepped up majorly. He's running the shop essentially on his own. Him and I, at the end of this year, are actually going to be chatting about him taking over in the field. So there's probably going to be some major team growth things coming on here in the future, because just like I said earlier, a business owner really shouldn't be wearing all the hats. And I don't want to be stretched too thin. I think I'm ready to enjoy life a little bit more. Maybe come see you guys, spend a little time out and about.
That would be great.
So yes, I'm beyond ready for that. So I need to stop wearing all the hats and let some people take over and do what they do best, especially since throughout this time they've stepped up and shown me that they want it. So
All right. So yeah, being a good leader in your case which leads on to my next question. What do you think makes a good leader?
Three things. You got to be willing to get in the trenches. If you wouldn't take your own order, don't give the order. And be willing to evaluate your people. I've seen a lot of business owners, and I even before I started my own companies, this happened to me. But they don't necessarily put people in a position where they are able to thrive or even function well within their position because it doesn't necessarily fit them. And so I've really tried to take that to the next level, just based on some feedback that I was given. I don't really like doing these types of things. I would thrive much better in a sales situation, in which case I brought that person into sales. They're doing a little bit of both, but they're showing me very quickly that they are good at sales, and they may actually be brought from the field into sales, which would be a huge step up for them. This is another laborer that showed me that they wanted something different, not something more. They thought that the path was construction. Their path turned out to be something else. So your willingness to evaluate and move people where they're going to do their best, your ability to jump in the trenches and do exactly what all of your men are doing to make sure that the job is getting done, and it's getting done right. But you also have to let them lead the army. Like, you can't, a general is going to give the orders. The men have to carry out the orders. And if they're not willing to have your back because you don't have theirs, or you won't get in the trenches, or say you're a rude boss, oh, we've all seen that one play out. So it's something that if you want to be a good leader, you have to be willing to hear the army. You gotta be a good leader. Much more than that, I feel like those traits are universal. If you're going to lead someone, you got to be willing to do it, respect them, and evaluate them. Give them a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And going back to what you said at the start, I think stress tolerance is a big part of it as well. Being able to be patient with those people and not letting your emotions overcome you when negative situations do arise.
Oh, 100%, because they will arise. It really doesn't matter how many systems you have in order. Something will happen eventually, and you definitely don't want to lose your cool. You want to be able to take a deep breath, and be able to come up with a solution to the problem. And I feel like stress tolerance and problem solving almost go hand in hand, because when you are better at problem solving, the stress tolerance gets a lot easier because your ability to solve the problem gets quicker and quicker and quicker, or more efficient in the manner of solving it. So it is definitely that's, you are 100% right.
Yeah. And thank you for the insights. Now, is there anything they could bring up for changes in those past 4 months in either your mental or physical state?
Oh, yes, 100%. So my mental state is, I've become more business minded, I guess. So I'm seeing everything through the eyes of business. Why is this business successful? What are they doing to be successful? What are their, what's their target audience? What are their marketing strategies? And that's something that Tate talks a lot about. And when I started doing that, just day to day, where I was going to places and I was ordering my coffees, or when I go to a certain gym, why did I choose that gym that day? Um, it gave me the ability to do it for myself. I walk in, I look around, I'm like, well, why is this like that? Why do we put the metal over here instead of over here? And why isn't, I'm looking at it from a stance of being business minded and being as efficient as possible, not only for my guys, but for my clients. So that's the biggest mental shift.
And has that actually, right? And have you seen progress in that sense in terms of how it correlates to your real life? Like, because some people, let's say, they might analyze, but then they won't know how to transfer that over to actionable means. I don't know how else to phrase it. So in your case, were you actually able to take action on the analysis you were doing?
100%. So I was able to rearrange my shop. The guys loved it. They were able to get to things more efficiently. Things were where they needed to be. So they were essentially working faster, which, even though it's only a small portion of productivity, it's still a great thing for the guys because they don't have to struggle. And if they're not struggling, they're happy. Um,
Mm.
but a huge physical shift. I have actually gone into working out every day. I Prior to the real world, I was working out 3 times a day, or I'm sorry, 3 times a day, 3 times a week. Sorry, whoo, I'm getting in.
Right, right,
And basically, I went to working out every single day. I'm doing cardio every single day. So with that, not only does it bring the physical presence that I am willing to work hard, but it also gives me the mental clarity because when you're physically fit, you are mentally fit. And I don't know why those two things correlate the way they do, but my guess is when your body has what it needs and it's in shape, it's giving your mind what it needs and it's keeping it in shape. And then the real world keeps me mentally in shape as well, mentally focused, and it gives me a group of guys that I can count on. So I have definitely seen major improvements from that, and I've dropped 2 pant sizes. I mean, that's fantastic, and I've got rock hard abs now. Like, come on, who doesn't love that? So, it's great.
right.
It's good mental shifts because the analysis allows me to get my guys happy, make my shop more efficient. I'm able to target my audience more effectively because that comes with it. And that helps with marketing. So I'm not spending a bunch of money on marketing that's just going to the wind.
Mm-hmm. All right, makes sense. And what about any lifestyle changes due to increased income?
Lot less stress. A lot less stress. So bills are taken care of. I got myself a nice little motorcycle, which, I mean, you got to have at least one toy. So I got myself a nice Harley Davidson. I've been riding motorcycles since I was little. Um, and I essentially took care of every bit of debt that was on the table for me, for my family. We knocked it all out. There is no more stress. There is no more opportunity for loss in our personal lives. So, with that being gone, um, everything towards the growth in the future is essentially stacking towards a better lifestyle, a better house, a better place. And not only that, but when we get this rolling like a well running machine, I would like to step away. I want to do more traveling. I want to take my kids to the places I always wanted to see, but never got to. So we're going to rock it out.
Beautiful. I love that. Okay, so since you said you want to step away, I will ask a bit later about your short term, medium, and long term plans. I still would like to know a bit more on. So, a lot of this, I guess, you would attribute to Tate as well, correct? Because I mean, it's because of him that the real world is around, and then you joined initially probably because of him as well. So, in those 4 months, is there anything to say about how Tate has impacted your life as well?
Tate continues to impact my life in every way. I have spent a lot of time just listening to some of his motivational long term things, and that's what keeps me mentally. I don't want to say mentally motivated because, in my opinion, the true definition of motivation is your willingness to do something even though you don't want to do it. It has nothing with wanting to do it or having the ease of access to be able to do it. It is literally, I don't want to do anything, but I'm going to get in there and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. That's motivation. And Tate, the way that he says things, even with yesterday's emergency meeting, it is so moving to the soul and it connects and resonates with so many people that when he when he gives advice, you just listen. And if you don't implement it, then it is on you. It is your loss because this man can save you 30 years in a manner of 15 minutes if you just listen to what he says and you actually do it. But a lot of things that are really starting to sit with me is the not not overwork. Make sure that you're enjoying your life, because that's something that I was doing. I'm overworking myself. I'm spending a lot of time. Even when I do come home, I'm working. I'm on the computer. I'm sending emails, and he's been saying that a lot, especially since everything and since he's back home, is enjoying life. And I really have taken that to heart, and that's why my future goals right now, short term and long term, are get this thing running like a machine so I can spend time with my family and stop working so hard. Construction does take a lot of time. It is beneficial in the long run, but uh, even traditional businesses can become passive income if you do it right.
Right, right, right. And yeah, since you mentioned the emergency meeting yesterday, I mean, wow, it's been 6 to 7 months since the last one. And yeah, I mean, listening to them speaking, especially towards the end, I'm so glad that I'm doing this. I'm able to contribute to everything they're doing. I mean, yeah, I couldn't imagine doing anything better with my time than this. And
I
then
actually,
getting to meet people like you, hearing everyone's success stories, I mean, motivates me as well. I'm sure it's having an impact on other people who listen. So it's just beautiful, everything that's happening.
oh yes, 100%. I had a few friends who had started listening to some of the content after they started working out with me. I've been like dragging groups of people. I'm like, come on, we're not going to be potatoes. Let's go to the gym together. And they've actually started getting into the routine of it and building those good habits. And I started having them listen to, Justin and Andrew and Tristan. And they're starting to listen to them regularly on their own. So I actually had them over. We popped Rumble on the TV and we were watching. And I mean, that last speech that he was giving right before the power cut, I mean, I was swords in the air, ready to go to war. Let's do this, brother. Like, we've got this. And my guys, they were sitting there, they were amped up and they were wanting to go. And I actually sent one of them over to the real world, and I'm hoping that he pulls that trigger today because he asked me for a link yesterday.
Good, good, perfect. Yeah, I had a friend who I lived with in university. He messaged me maybe a month ago. He's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. I joined the real world about 3 weeks ago." And then he was telling me how much information and everything there is. Like he's so surprised by what he found there. So it's cool that I mean he saw the interviews I was doing, and then he knows me as a person, and he had seen Tate clips before, but they were negative things from TikTok, from some other places. And he was like, "I don't understand why you support this guy." But now he was saying, well, since I mean I've been seeing him for a while, and usually you have good judgment just from the history we have. He thought, okay, I'll check out his long form, at least a few videos, just to see for myself. And he started listening. He's like, so I don't actually disagree with anything he's saying. Like you can see the clips I saw that were negative, they were just taken out of context. So I mean, then yeah, he started listening to Tate himself, and then joined the real world. And yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that because of you, other people are also. I mean, you're having an impact on other people through the way you're living and succeeding. So I guess same in
Exactly.
your sense, like they're seeing the impact it's having on you, and then they want to follow suit as well. So yeah, okay. And outside of your goal to automate the business, what other plans do you have, or where do you see your life heading in short term, medium, long term?
I have actually, I'm a jack of all trades, a master of some. Um, so a lot of my time when I first got out of high school was spent programming and coding different things. So I've actually short term got a software company that's going to be launching soon. The software is built, but right
Nice.
now we're working on the website and the user interface. So short term, I do have that going right now. That'll help me automate this business. And it was kind of the whole reason I was building it. But as I built it, I saw a need that it could fulfill for a lot of people other than me. So I decided to build it and we're going to put it on a public server and make it accessible to everybody. Real estate, we'll call it the circle of business instead of the circle of life. With what I do, real estate almost goes hand in hand. And I would like to see myself close a few more deals within real estate, which is something that we could always talk about later. It's not really the focus because it's not where I'm making money bags. But if I can close a few more deals in that, I would like to start to convert my services into that and create a full business circle with all of my companies working synonymously.
Nice. And what would you project in terms of timeline for that?
In the next 2 to 3 years, I want my net worth to be $1 million. That's what I'm going to project, and I'm going to aim for that. And if I fall short, then I'm going to shoot higher the next time. So if I fall short on that $1 million,
it sounds
the next
very
2 to 3 years
realistic.
is going to be 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
yeah,
with the
definitely.
trajectory you're going, with everything you have, the knowledge, I mean, the resources, everything. I mean, it seems like what's it called? You're undervaluing what you can do in those 2 to 3 years, at least from my
Oof.
perspective. I think you could even shoot higher.
Should we shoot for 5? Should we call it 5?
Oh,
Let's call
now
it
that's
5.
sounding better. Yes. Okay.
Let's call it
Perfect.
5.
Good, good.
It's on
Okay. So
recording
yeah, I
now. I
look
can't
forward to
take it
seeing.
back.
Right. So 5 million in 2 to 3 years. So when we do a follow-up interview, by then it will be like the 10th or whatever follow-up. Then you'll be like, yes, remember the second one? I told you 5 million. Well, I've reached it now. So yeah,
Let's hope
looking
that
forward to that.
in 2 to 3 years, the interview isn't over stream. It's I'll be sitting next to you. We'll talk it out.
Oh, easy. That'll probably be by the 5th one, maybe, I'd predict.
I like it.
So, Trey, I mean, it was great catching up. I just have one last question for you now. For people who are still unsure about joining the real world, maybe to them it might seem like it could be a scam for the $50. From your experience, what advice would you have for them?
Well, if I had to tell you what the real world is going to give you, it's going to give you access to 19 different modern wealth creations with some of the best professors that are actually doing it. The old adage is if you can't do, you teach. And in uni, that is very much the concept, and they're going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars for your time. Instead, earn along with your professors, earn a living, and learn how to develop that skill. There's something in there for everybody. There's stuff for online, and I myself did it in a traditional business setting with construction. So I do believe that the real world has the capabilities of teaching anyone how to be successful and how to get the correct mindset to be successful.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so Trey, again, thank you for your time. I mean, it was great catching up. Almost 30 minutes just flew by. It feels like 10 minutes.
I know.
And yeah, I look forward to the follow-up again to see how everything's progressing for you. And for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
The best place to get at me is going to be on Twitter or Instagram. You can find me on there. It's going to be at T Johnston. And essentially, if you have any questions, if you want to connect, or if you just are kind of feeling stuck, send me a message. We can talk about it, and we'll see where we can get you in the next 2 to 3 years.
Awesome. Okay. So I'll add those to the description of the video. And yeah, Trey, I mean, all the best to you. Look forward till next time.
Perfect. You as well. Thank you.